Hello and welcome to another episode of A Brief History, the show where I give you a crash course in the history of everyone's favorite video game franchises. I'm Foot of a Ferret, and today's lesson is on Sly Cooper. Ready, set, go. March 4th, 2000. Being fresh off the heels of their groundbreaking 3D console, the PlayStation, Sony had moved on to bigger and better things with their turn-of-the-century console, the PlayStation 2. But with the PS1's mascot Crash Bandicoot having gone multi-platform, Sony was in need of a new platforming mascot to push their new system. And so all different kinds of game developers jumped on their chance to compete for Sony's metaphorical championship belt. Of these developers was the Washington-based company Sucker Punch, and their horse in this race was known as Sly Cooper. Released on September 23rd, 2002, Sly Cooper and the Theorists Raccoonus was a comedic stealth action platformer featuring an anthropomorphic raccoon named Sly Cooper. The latest in a long line of master thieves, Sly was on a mission to reclaim his stolen family heirloom, the Theorists Raccoonus, a book filled with the history of Sly's stealthy lineage. And he does this by mixing standard adventure game mechanics with simple yet rewarding stealth elements. To put it bluntly, think early Crash Bandicoot meets the Forsaken Fortress from The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. Mix this unique gameplay with the game's widely appealing cartoony art style, impressive cel-shaded graphics, and witty dialogue, and Sly Cooper and the Theorists Raccoonus made for one of the more unique platforming experiences of the early 2000s. And while it didn't sell quite as well as its two main competitors, Jak and Daxter and Ratchet & Clank, the game still garnered mostly positive reviews and sold enough copies to be reprinted under PlayStation's greatest hits line. So Sucker Punch had hit it pretty big with what was really only their second game, and they made sure to keep this traction up with a sequel released only 2 years later on September 14th, 2004. Subtitled Band of Thieves, Sly 2 made many significant changes to the Sly Cooper engine and formula. Most notably, it ditched the linear level designs of the first game for a far more open-world approach, and it added even more variety to the gameplay by expanding the playable character list to include the other two supporting members of Sly's gang, Bentley the Brains and Murray the Brawn. Sly 2 Band of Thieves was released to critical acclaim and is to this day considered by many to be the quintessential Sly Cooper game, meaning that Sly Cooper's formula was now solidified and that Sucker Punch were once again ready to follow up. And they did so the smart way, leaving things more or less unchanged for Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves. Released for the PS2 on September 26, 2005, only 1 year after Sly 2, Honor Among Thieves remained more or less consistent with its predecessor while also adding in more mini-games, challenges, more than doubling the cast of playable characters, and adding in new features such as multiplayer and 3D compatibility. And I don't mean 3DS or real D3D either, I'm talking about old school floppy red and blue paper glasses shoved in the box 3D. While not receiving quite the same critical success as Sly 2, Sly 3's review scores were still very positive, receiving an average of 8 to 8.5 out of 10. But unfortunately, this is where the Getaway Van's tires begin to flatten. With 3 hit games under his belt and the PlayStation 2 nearing the end of its lifespan, Sly Cooper was in his prime, but after the PlayStation 3's 2006 release, the gaming landscape really began to change. Where games like Crash Bandicoot and Banjo-Kazooie ruled the market when the PS2 released, when it came time to release the PS3, games like Call of Duty were becoming more and more prevalent. First and third person shooters really began to rule the market, so no one really wanted to make platformers anymore. And even before that, one of Sly's main PS2 competitors, Jak and Daxter, had already moved away from its platforming roots in favor of a Grand Theft Auto-style sandbox map with guns and carjacking. So what was once one of the most fresh and unique series of games of the 2000s was now looked at by developers as outdated and virtually unsellable. For the next 4 or 5 years, Sly was absolutely nowhere to be seen. It was not until the year 2010 that Sly finally began to gain the respect he deserved, starting with an HD re-release of all 3 Sly games on one disc for the PlayStation 3. In 2011, Sly and Bentley appeared alongside Jak, Daxter, Ratchet, and Clank in the PS3 title PlayStation Move Heroes. And the newly designed Sly Cooper appeared in 2012 Super Sony Smash All-Stars PlayStation Melee Battle Royale for Wii U and 3DS.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the part of the video where Cadicarus, that's me, jumps into the middle of Ryder's video to tell you all that if you liked that joke, you should go straight to my Sly Cooper retrospective video series. Why? Because I made that joke first. Called out.
Huh, that was weird. Hope we don't run into him again anytime soon. Anyway, all of this was fine, it was cool, but it wasn't until 2013 that Sly fans were finally given what they really wanted, a brand new Sly Cooper game. Now at this point, Sucker Punch had decided to give the Sly brand to a new development team, so this long-awaited sequel was instead developed by Sanzaru Games, who also had a hand in the Sly HD collection. They may have also developed Sonic Boom Shattered Crystal for the Nintendo 3DS, but that doesn't matter, that was later, let's not talk about that. Released on February 5th, 2013 for both PlayStation 3 and PlayStation Vita, Sly Cooper Thieves in Time retains virtually everything that made the original trilogy so great. Everything from the graphics and the design to the controls and the voice actors remained unchanged at the core despite any and all updates and tweaks. Thieves in Time also found the perfect way to have a large cast of playable characters while keeping gameplay consistent. As the title suggests, in Thieves in Time, Sly and the gang used their newly modified getaway van to travel through time, so you could now play as Sly, Bentley, Murray, Sly's long-standing love interest, Carmelita Fox, and a large cast of Sly's ancestors. Each chapter features its own playable member of the Cooper clan, and being relatives of Sly, each of these ancestral characters control about the same as Sly while also bringing their own unique moves to the table. In addition to all of this, Thieves in Time was also the first Sly game to be released for a portable console, and those who had both the PS3 and Vita versions could use the Vita to scan for collectible items while playing the PS3 version. And just to top it all off, anyone who purchased the PS3 version of the game would also receive a free copy of the Vita version via the PlayStation Network. So not only was this game a fantastic return for a hugely underrated franchise, it was also an amazing bargain for the price. However, despite everything the game did right, the review scores were considerably lower than those of the first 3 games. The main points of critique being some occasionally frustrating gameplay, unnecessary motion controls, and the unusually lengthy load times. But all things considered, flaws and all, Sly Cooper Thieves in Time was a fun and satisfying throwback to a simpler time in modern gaming, and it may have opened the door for even more Sly Cooper titles to come. And its companion release, Bentley's Hack Pack, a collection of Sly 4's hacking minigames for PS3, PS Vita, iOS, and Android, also performed well with the critics. Now you'd think that all of this new recognition would be enough for one raccoon, but no, for in January of 2014, a teaser trailer was released for a feature-length Sly Cooper film. Produced by both Blockade and Rainmaker Entertainment and directed by Kevin Monroe, the Sly Cooper movie should follow a similar plot to that of the first game and is set to be released sometime in 2016. Sly Cooper came at a really crucial time for PlayStation, and while it may not have solidified itself as the new PlayStation mascot, it still lives on as one of the most consistent and beloved series of games from the PlayStation 2. And from his outside appearances in comics and films to his new adventures on the PS3 and hopefully PS4, it is clear that the old ringtail still has plenty of unfinished business to attend to. And that brings me back to you. Are you a Sly Cooper fan, or is this the first time you've ever heard of the franchise? Click on one of these to let me know, study up by watching other brief histories, game theories, and more, and until next time, thanks for watching, guys. DFTBA.
Did you really do what I think you did? Was that my joke? Was that my joke? You used my joke? That's not a joke. What joke? I don't post on my videos.
I hope that was okay. If it wasn't, just let me know. Sorry for the rough quality. Hopefully you can work with something. Can't wait to see the finished product. If you need anything, just give me a shout. Or if you want to write something yourself, just give me a shout. See you later, Ryder. Bye.